Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It. And today I have the honor of speaking with teacher, marathon runner, and pro wrestler in training, T0uchan, aka Kylie. Hello, Kylie.
Hey, they're fine. They're just playing.
Are they also speedrunners?
They get the zoomies. That's like cat speedrunning.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the communities that you're involved with.
Yes, so I am a teacher, pro wrestler in training. I'm kind of in that phase. I run marathons. I also used to do a lot of speed runs. I still, every now and then I dabble streaming on Twitch and doing speed runs of various, mostly retro video games like Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, right? Gotta rep Sonic here. But also games like Donkey Kong Country 2, RPGs like Earthbound and Shantae and stuff like that. So I'm like one of the Sonic people, I guess. So that's sort of where I fall.
How did you come to pro wrestling as your focus?
It's a good question. I've had moments where I'm like standing in the ring and it's like, how did I get here? You know, I've always loved wrestling growing up. It's always been that thing that's like on the periphery. Like I'll sit and watch it. Sometimes I won't watch it for a long time. Me and my brother and sister would watch it and stuff. And it opened a lot of doors for me. And I'm in my 30s, so it's a little after the fact. Most people get into this in their like 20s or even their teens. But I was like, I want to try something that pushes me and challenges me, and I don't care how lofty or ambitious it is. I want to give it a shot because this is my chance to do that, you know. And like I did the same thing before with like running marathons and stuff. You know, it's like I've never run a marathon in my life. I want to run a marathon. I'm going to do that. That's definitely something that maturity lends itself toward. It's just like doing the stuff you know you need to do to get the thing you want, you know?
Yes.
But the wrestling stuff didn't come into the fray until about January of this year, like really the start of the year. They had a tryout and I went to the tryout, and it was like a month after I had just had like surgery on something, and so it was like, maybe I should have waited a little longer.
Oh,
you know, because that tryout was rough to get through, especially with like my healing, which is probably not advisable. I thought, whatever, but I really feel myself progressing. I feel myself just getting stronger overall, more capable, you know, more confident in what I'm doing. I'm really proud of my progress up there. It's a promising endeavor I've undertaken.
There's sort of a duality to it, right? Being fit and able-bodied, but also a certain amount of pageantry to it, that it's still entertainment.
Yeah. It's not a unicorn in that sense. There's a lot of sports that kind of mix the two together, like ballet. You know, you have to be really athletic to do ballet properly. Things around the world like folk dance / combat type things. I'm thinking of like capoeira, you know, or some indigenous traditions. Like this is like not unique to wrestling. The impact is real. The gravity is real. The blood is real. At times it does get bloody. Our practices, our training is very demanding. This is like the most physically demanding stuff I've ever done. You know, there's a high standard that we have to meet. It gets really intense. I wish the air conditioning was better in the training center where we train. Like I'm just like, my hair just puffs up, just, like turns into like Medusa hair. I'm just like.
Does that play into a kind of character or persona that you've taken on in the ring?
No. My dad was a bowler, and I'm noticing the bowling pin behind you. You know, like in the 1980s, he was in the PBA on TV and stuff, and he tried to put me and my sister in a bowling league growing up, because like that's the closest they could get to getting us to do athletic stuff, you know. But I'm not a very good bowler, as it turns out, either. Like I didn't want to disgrace the family name. Bless my parents, they provided plenty of food in my house, and so I'm fortunate to grow up in a house that always had plenty of food, but also like it was unrestricted access. And also an emphasis on like finish your plate, eat until you're full, eat until you're stuffed, really. On the nutrition side of things, it was not ideal in that respect, just because like I shouldn't be eating ice cream and like blocks of cheese. Like I'll just eat cheese. Just cheese. My birthstone is a block of cheese. Little Debbie snacks, guzzling soda, all that stuff. The soda habit was really hard to break. It impacted my youth a lot. So it is a thing, and that's a touchy subject with like youth obesity and things like that. But like it does impact one's life, like I know. And I had all this other stuff I was dealing with, so it didn't help. If I had the knowledge, what food is for, what's good to eat if you're trying to do this or that, and I wanted to lose weight, I didn't know how,
Yeah.
and so it wasn't until I was like in my early adulthood that I really made any real steps to doing it that actually worked. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, my upbringing is very sitting around playing games and eating Doritos, like, or at the time, I guess it'd be like Dunkaroos and Mr. Pibb or something. I'd have to be different, I like that they're incorporating an athletic activity into it. I mean, that's novel.
It's so true. Like a fun dip
That's
is
great.
truly fun because you have to dip
Yeah,
so many
the
times.
activity of dip.
It's true. I'm very muscular now. And so then you were saying kind of in your early adulthood, you started kind of making connections like, oh, some of this stuff is just because it tastes good, not because it actually provides any nutrient to your
It does
body.
taste good, yes.
Yeah, that's usually
Yeah.
the kicker for most of us.
Yeah, and I think it played into my body image issues a lot, and
Yeah.
and then I also had like another layer of body image issues that most kids didn't have. It was a lot to pile onto
believe it.
a wee child. You don't know how to process it. But at least the brownies tasted good. At least I had that. It does turn into that though. You start to retreat into like, well, this is the thing that makes me feel good.
Yes.
I think all growing up, like, I never really had like glasses of water to drink. Like I wouldn't spring for that. It wasn't the healthiest thing, but even into my 30s, I was still like guzzling Diet Coke like all day. I should really stop this. Like it's gonna eat away at my teeth and stuff. Habits are hard to break. That's really important to like recognize because I have it in me that like, oh, I'll just muster up the self-control to change on a dime. Like, I know what I need to do, so I will just find that self-control and just like start exerting that. And so much of it is behavioral and patterns that we fall into, and like you're more susceptible to it than you think. And so if you have an interest in building good habits, you should recognize that it's a behavioral thing and there's like consistency to be had, and you change it slowly over time. All this stuff that I've done has been like little changes. It was not an overnight decision. It's just like it's been mounting up for years.
Is there ever a time in recent now history where you felt like you couldn't physically keep up with something you wanted to do?
There's still sort of a wave that you ride day to day. Like some days you just don't feel as up to it, and some days you're just like, let's get it. It's almost like I'm playing Fire Emblem right now, and they have the biorhythm mechanic in there, and it's like, that's so true. That's so true. I'm trained at the things that I train for. Like, I could still go out and like try to play basketball. I'm like terrible. In terms of just stamina or like brute strength, I feel like those departments I've got that pretty well on lock. It's more the specificity of the activity in question that makes it that activity.
So, is there anything that you would say now that you do as far as diet and exercise that you cannot foresee ever letting go of?
I don't like absolutes.
Sure.
I don't like absolutes. Unless it's like a really destructive thing, which great, having that understanding that there are no bad foods. They just have different stats, right? That knowledge I'll always carry with me, and that's something that has definitely improved my relationship with food, in a way that benefits me. And then fitness-wise, like I like being in shape. I've tried so many trial and error forays that, left me wanting more out of my own body, and I understand my body better now. So the knowledge is power, that corny phrase that is actually true. I just don't want my tombstone to say like never had a frozen zebra cake. Like I don't want it to say that.
Maybe if you ever attend a GDQ and I see, I'm gonna have to make you like a little zebra cake pendant and just symbolize.
I would treasure that. I would love that. GDQ could happen. I'm just putting that out there. GDQ could happen. There's plenty of stuff I've picked up myself that I feel like, oh, why doesn't everybody know this, you know? Learning how to wade through the misinformation. Don't get your advice off of TikTok. Don't get your advice off of shorts or anything like that. Seek out the science, the actual science of it. I mean, honestly, it really is just, it's consistency. It's just like you don't have to turn into a superhero overnight or whatever. Do it for yourself, right? Don't do it because you think people will like you better or whatever. Like that's a trap that you can fall into really easily. I've fallen into that trap before. It's liberating. It's freeing to the soul to understand that people really don't think about other people like not that much and not that deeply. It's fine. Just enjoy your life and don't be so concerned with like usually it's like carryover from grade school or something. If you can, try to shoo that away. Gamers specifically, it's like that's all they do, which is awesome. Like that's your passion, you know? But like it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to abandon everything else. You don't have to specialize in only liking one thing or whatever. Maybe you feel some duty to be the gamer person who does this or whatever. But you can absolutely make time for mental and physical well-being. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you should make a little time for it because that's just the deal. That's just how life works. This is what allows you to be alive and play the games. So you should invest in it. The phrase I hear is if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. And I feel like that's true.
Where are the best places to keep track of you?
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook, all that stuff. I'm on everything. I just recently started streaming again on Twitch after a little bit of hiatus. When I start wrestling, catch me at an event when that happens.
Thank you so much, Kylie. You're the best, and I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on here. Thank you so much.